The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for millions of years. Hundreds of intelligent species were part of the Alliance, each contributing their technology, culture, and knowledge to the shared civilization. Some races were brilliant scientists. Some were master engineers. Some were peaceful diplomats. But none of them were warriors. For most of the galaxy's history, they didn't need to be. Conflict was rare, and whenever a dispute appeared, the Council solved it through negotiation. The idea of total war had become an ancient memory, something only studied in history archives. Then the Zarvok Empire arrived. They came from the dark outer rim of the galaxy, an unknown species with a single goal: conquest. Their fleets were massive, their ships heavily armed, and their soldiers genetically engineered for battle. Planet after planet fell before them. Peaceful civilizations had no idea how to defend themselves. Entire star systems surrendered without firing a single shot. The Council watched in horror as their centuries of peace collapsed in only a few months. Finally, in desperation, they searched for help. That was when they discovered Earth. At first, humanity seemed unimpressive. A small planet orbiting an ordinary star. Their technology was decades behind the advanced civilizations of the Council. Their ships were slower. Their weapons were primitive. And worst of all, humans fought each other. The Council archives were filled with records of human wars. Thousands of them. Nations fighting nations. Empires rising and collapsing. Conflicts fought on land, sea, air, and eventually in space. To the peaceful species of the galaxy, this was disturbing. Why would a species constantly fight itself? But one of the Council's strategists had a different opinion. He studied humanity's history carefully. And then he said something that would change the galaxy forever. Humans may be exactly what we need. When the Zarvok Empire reached the border of Council territory, panic spread through every system. Thousands of alien ships gathered to defend their worlds. But when the first battle started, they were destroyed within minutes. The Zarvok fleet tore through the defensive lines like predators among prey. Energy weapons burned through shields, and entire fleets vanished in seconds. The Council realized something terrifying. They didn't know how to fight a war. Their ships were built for exploration and trade, not combat. Their commanders had never experienced battle. But the Zarvok had. And they were winning. In a final act of desperation, the Council contacted Earth. The message was simple. We need your help. Humanity's leaders were surprised. For centuries they had searched for alien life. Now the galaxy itself was asking them for assistance. After long discussions, Earth agreed to join the war. The Council expected a few ships. Maybe a small defense fleet. Instead, humanity sent everything. Hundreds of warships jumped into Council space. Compared to alien vessels, the human ships looked rough and heavily armored. Thick hull plating, visible weapon systems, and engines designed for power rather than elegance. The alien observers were confused. Why build ships like that? Then the battle began. When the Zarvok fleet entered the system, they expected another easy victory. Instead, they encountered the human fleet. The Zarvok commander laughed when he saw them. These primitive ships will fall in seconds. He ordered the attack. Energy beams fired across space, striking the human ships. To the Zarvok's surprise, the ships kept moving. Human warships were built to survive damage. Instead of collapsing instantly, they continued advancing through explosions and impacts. Then the humans fired back. Missiles filled space like a storm. Railguns launched metal projectiles at incredible speed. Explosions ripped through the Zarvok Formation. For the first time in their history, the Zarvok were pushed back. The Alien Council watched the battle in shock. Human commanders shouted orders, adjusted strategies, and coordinated attacks with incredible speed. They adapted to enemy tactics almost instantly. When a human ship was destroyed, the others closed ranks and kept fighting. They showed no hesitation, no fear, just determination. One council observer whispered quietly, "They've done this before." The war lasted months. Every battle changed the galaxy's understanding of humanity. Humans used strategies the peaceful species had never imagined. Ambushes, diversions, hit-and-run attacks, coordinated fleet maneuvers. They turned asteroid belts into traps. They hid fleets behind moons. They even used damaged ships as decoys. The Zarvok Empire slowly began losing ground. For the first time in their history, they were facing an enemy who understood war just as well as they did. The final battle took place above a distant red star. The Zarvok assembled their largest fleet. Thousands of ships. Their plan was simple: destroy humanity completely. The human fleet arrived soon after. The Council watched nervously. Even with human tactics, the Zarvok numbers were overwhelming. But the human admiral seemed calm. He gave one simple order: begin Phase 3. Moments later, something strange happened. Hidden human fleets appeared from hyperspace behind the Zarvok Formation. The Zarvok had been surrounded. The trap had been planned for weeks. Missiles and railgun fire erupted from every direction. The Zarvok Formation collapsed in chaos. Ships collided. Command signals were lost. Within hours, the largest fleet the Zarvok had ever assembled was destroyed. The war was over. Across the galaxy, celebrations began. The Zarvok Empire retreated back to the dark regions of space. The Council worlds were safe again. But the most important change wasn't the victory. It was how the galaxy now saw humanity. The peaceful species realized something they had never understood before. War was terrible. But surviving it required knowledge and strength. And humanity had both. One Council historian wrote in the official records, "Humans are not the strongest species in the galaxy. They are not the most advanced. They are not the most intelligent. But they are the only species that learned how to survive their own wars. And that makes them the most dangerous allies. And the most terrifying enemies." From that day forward, the galaxy remembered one lesson. When darkness rises among the stars, call the humans.